Welcome back to Captain of Industry Update 3, playing on a completely new map, which is a huge map. We can't even see the end on both sides. We've already done also a lot of terraforming. For example, at the beginning there used to be coal over here and copper, both of these are gone. Here we used to have, you can see actually just a bit more, there used to be a lot of iron over here. This is gone too. We've definitely made a lot of great progress. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see the full playlist. In particular, in the last episode, we did the last few foods. We did sausages, we did the cake with sugar. So all of this has been done, and so we're providing all types of food to my people. Now, the next one is going to be electricity. We had electricity over here using coal. And to be honest, this is working totally fine, right? I'm using coal from the one map. We have, this that goes there, the water comes from here. So this is like a self-sufficient loop or self-sustainable loop, if you wish. So it's not like I need to stop it tomorrow, but it is not the most efficient, right? It is first creating a bit of pollution, and it is using a lot of coal, obviously. So we're gonna want to move to the next more interesting level of electricity, which is the nuclear. So we have over here, right, 3 of these at 15, that is 45. And then we have 20 from these diesel generators, which are even worse, right? They're going to consume diesel to make exhausts. Like, that's really not that great. We want to avoid this. Now we're gonna go way bigger. Instead of 65, which is half of it, not really great, we're gonna build these gigantic, over here, beautiful and gigantic nuclear reactors. And as you can see, looking over here, we have way more of this power generator, right? We have how many? We have basically 8 lines times 2, so we have 16 of these, right? So that can create a huge amount of electricity. This is also, by the way, like if you look at this part there, actually, let me just do it like this. So this is the part that is mandatory. This part over here, this is completely optional. I've added it on top. It's basically to try to waste nothing, but it is completely optional. If you don't want to have it, it's fine, you don't have it. But this is the one part that all works together. Of course, you could make it smaller. For example, a very simple one is you can make it half the size. At the beginning over here, we're gonna have 2 of these crusher large. If you want to have only 1, then here instead of 4, you're gonna have only 2. Here instead of 8, you're gonna have only 4. Here instead of 2, you're only gonna have 1. And here basically you will have, depending on how you want to push it, you will have to have only 1 or 2. So I'm gonna go through it all, but again, I wanted to share with you that this is completely optional, and we're going big. We're going big because this is 2 of these. So 144 uranium ore, but you don't have to if you want to be smaller, because this is also not the last nuclear reactors. There will be then the nuclear reactor level 2, which will enable us to even increase further. And then we're gonna have the fast breeder reactors. But because we're trying to really, make a dent and have a huge population at the end, I was like, no, let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. So in particular, as I said, we're gonna need 144 of uranium ore. This is one of the kind of inputs. I'll show you all of the inputs, but this is the major input. So I just sent the ship. It's gonna go all the way over here. This is one of the uranium mine. I think there is multiple. No, not this one. But I know there was at least one more somewhere. So maybe over here. Yes. This is also a uranium mine, right? So there is multiple uranium mine. This is the level 1. We are upgrading it now with 444 red parts, so that this way we're gonna produce, right, not 72, but 144. So that's going to be fine. Of course, it's gonna require some people and some unity, but because of the setting we have chosen at the beginning, this is kind of infinite, right? It will never stop. So if I decide, now I can really go. Now for the beginning, I think we're gonna stay at 72 because we're not gonna build the whole thing right away, but we know we can move to double whenever we want. So let's start actually here, right? This is really the beginning. You need one of these at cargo depot. We've putting a cargo depot level 4. To be honest, it's a bit of overkill, but it's better than having a problem in the future. Then we're gonna have some storage here. There is a balancer to make sure that, you know, regardless of if I have 2 or if I have 4 or 3, it's going to balance into one output. And that's going to be, you know, as I said, our first input. So what I've tried to do is that all of the inputs are over here. These are the inputs or even some of the outputs, but you know, basically all of the trucks, they will go here. No trucks needs to go in the middle or, you know, on different places. This is really the one place. This should be going. So yes, this is going to increase slightly, like slowly but surely. And when it's full, they're gonna go and bring some. We will though require, it will require a bit of diesel, which is why also over here, I've put some diesel, deposits and storage. This is linked to this one. So here is where the trucks will come and bring. In the future, of course, we're gonna want to link this potentially, for example, to our gigantic refinery here, which by the way, this is not our N1. We will do definitely better. For example, here instead of electrolyzer, we can go to electrolyzer 2. And there's a few other things we can improve, for example, not using coal at all, etc. But yeah, we have basically the input here of diesel that's going to come, and it's going to give us enough to then bring some uranium. The uranium ore is going to be crushed into a powder over here with those crusher large. As I said, right now, one will be enough. In the future, we have a second one. Obviously, I've put also warnings on all of these because we don't want them to be empty. Then we're going to use this uranium powder into those settling tanks. And as I said, let's go crazy with half of it right now. I'm going to also build all of these lines. Okay, we're gonna have the input, output over here and there. Okay, good. Okay, so what's happening? We're gonna take this uranium ore powder and a bit of acid to create some yellow cake and some toxic slurry. So the yellow cake is at level 0 here. It's gonna go into this deposit. The toxic slurry actually goes into this pipe here to go there. Right, that way again, I can put a warning, tell me please when it's full, right? It would be very bad for it to be full. It does require to bring, of course, some acid. So this is what you can see here at level, what is it? At the level 1, right? This pipe there. So let's follow this pipe. It comes from over here, where you can see indeed a couple of different things. I'm going to also, sorry, just start this one there. So we have, right, the output of acid there. To make acid, we're gonna have this mixer there, and this is 72 of acid, so guarantee you it's gonna be enough, because okay, look, this is 12, so we're talking about 24, 48, and then we're gonna use also a bit of acid there, but really not that much. So yeah, this is gonna be enough for what we need. This requires some water and some sulfur. So we have the sulfur input over here, and we have the water pipe, actually that's gonna go pretty far, but I'll show you in a second. I am bringing some water there, so that's great. And yeah, we're gonna use this water to make some acid. Maybe let's do that right away. So if you look at this, this is, I've called it kickstart water, because this is water we need to really kickstart the whole thing, but after we should never need any of this. So I can probably even pause it, or we can just leave it as is, because what I've done is obviously this is not the priority. If you follow over here, we'll see it goes all the way here into the balancer. It is, sorry, a bit tough to see because there's multiple things, but this is this one here, which is not the priority, right? These ones are the priority. So for now, it will help us to get started, but realistically, in the future, we can just stop it and nothing is gonna happen. So I have put also 3 of these. It's completely overkill, but it was one because you really never want to have a problem of water in a nuclear facility, or you know, the whole thing can explode. But more importantly, it's honestly just because I had the space, you know, to make it kind of a rectangle. There was a nice space here for 3, just put it. But yeah, we can see the water is coming, it's filling this, then it's going into this pipe here. that is going to make some acid. So the acid has started, perfect. So obviously this hasn't started yet, but the shape actually is gone. So soon, hopefully this will start, but we can follow it, right? We know we have the toxic slurry and the yellow cake. Let's focus first on the yellow cake, as this is kind of the more important thing. We're gonna see over here the belt, right? The belt that comes out from over here. It will go, you know, into that direction, and it actually also goes into this direction for the second layer. If you look over here, right, this is gonna be the same thing we just looked at. For these 4 here is gonna be the same as those 4 here. So yes, we have, you know, the input of yellow cake and another input of hydrogen fluoride. This is a new production we didn't do before, that is over here. So let's create it. This is going to take one of our new input, the rocks. So yes, you do need rocks for your production of nuclear. Don't ask me why. And by the way, here it is. We got some uranium ore that's moving over here and starting to be crushed, goes into this, and here it's gonna start soon. But yeah, we need to create a bit of hydrogen fluoride, which is going to be rocks plus acid. The acid comes from just next door. The rocks needs to be brought. And by the way, for all of these, I've put import level 3 because this is pretty important that, you know, this is done early and not last, obviously. Okay, what is that? Oh, that's perfect. Diesel, they're bringing a lot of diesel, love it. I think I forgot to put a warning here. So yeah, if this is below 50%, please tell me. But yeah, we have over here, right, the hydrogen fluoride, which will then go into this pipe here to be delivered into all of these. Right, this is this pipe there that you see. This is going to create 2 things: enriched uranium at 4% and the depleted uranium. So, oh, and no, sorry, I forgot about one thing here, which is that we're creating also a bit of slag, which is what you're seeing over here. So we need to build that. And that's gonna be our first output instead of inputs like these 2. This is an output, right, of slag. And we're gonna say, please empty it. And please tell me if it's above 75%, that will be really bad. Sorry, we forgot one there. So here it is coming. And then we're going to have a second output actually just next to it, which is gonna be our depleted uranium. So this is what you can see over here, right? We'll go at level 1 all over there, and you know, you can do either this, or you can even do, if you want to be even more compact, right, you can have a U-shape lifts like this. But that's what's happening at level 1, and at level 0 we have the flat conveyor for the enriched uranium at 4% that will go into this one here, right? So now I see we have hydrogen fluoride, we have a bit of yellow cake. So let's get started building 2 of these. Oh no, wait, 4 of these, my bad. Not 2. Because this is 0.5 and one of these, no, wait, yes. This is 3 and this is making 6, right? So with 2 we can make 4. Okay, so that's going to start creating some enriched uranium, unless I've made a mistake. Oh yeah, here you can see there is a small mistake. My bad. My bad. So go there, please. Up. Good. Oh, and we've started to create some toxic slurry, by the way. That's not good. We're gonna need to take care of that. Maybe we actually do that now. So the toxic slurry, as I said, will go on this, and then it will go here, and you will see it will go into these 2 here, there, right? Oh, and by the way, we can see that my energy taken to make all of these is a bit high. Like this one is 4 megawatts. So yes, it does consume energy to make energy. That's nothing new in the world. Let's unpause these guys. So hopefully that will be enough for a bit. And otherwise what I can do is pause half of all of this, right? But anyway, we have over here one of these. We're gonna need to drop, actually let's build the whole thing there. So we're going to drop some toxic slurry in the front there, right? Then we're gonna need also to bring some filter media and some brine. Oh, I may need, I just realized I made a tiny mistake, which is I need to bring some brine to get the whole thing kicked off. Okay, because my brine is actually going to be created by the steam, and right now we don't have any steam. Huh, okay. Well, while we're at it, let's focus over here on the filter media. It's one of the other inputs, obviously. So it's gonna go over here, then it goes into this belt there and is delivered into those two things. We have then, I'm just going to pause these two for now to not create too much toxic slurry. So yeah, and I guess what I could also do is have an emergency shutdown of toxic slurry over here. Or the other thing we can do is here, I guess we can bring some kickoff. I'm gonna need to make just a bit of space because I like to have things that are perfect. So let's fix it live together. All right. So we're going to need one for rock. That's still there for sure. This is still needed. This is not sulfur, this is rock. Okay. I'm going to rebuild it. And then next to it, we're gonna make a brine one. Brine, which is just a kickoff brine. Where please tell me if it's empty, but again, it's just to kick off, so it should not really be used in the future, and we really don't need that much. I'm gonna need to probably do a bit of spaghetti to bring it over here. There, needs to go all the way over there. Actually, we should probably bring it to that pipe balancer there. So let's go. Let's make it slightly clean where we put it, you know, at the top level here. Can I go at the top level right away and then try to be clean? Like this. Let's follow the yellow. Up, 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 and you need to go into that balancer here. Right, I think so. Yes. So this will not be the priority, but it is needed to get us started on the brine for these wastewater treatment. Because yeah, we need the toxic slurry, the filter media, and the brine. Okay, so let's just build the brine so we can see it come in a second. And then what are we gonna create? Oh no, why did I put that on? So what are we gonna create? We're going to create some water. This is this input over here. We'll go into this pipe and it will go into my water here. And this is actually obviously something that will be prioritized, right? We need to make sure this water doesn't stay there. And then second, we're going to create slag. And actually it's quite a lot. It's 60. So when I have two, it's 120. It goes onto this belt here to join, you know, the big loose storage here of slag. So that should be totally fine. Again, we need a bit of brine. Here it is. They're bringing it. So let's see it in a second when it arrives all the way over here. You can see it's flowing. It's flowing. Oh, I think we forgot one here. Actually, maybe let's just build this while we're here. But yeah, the brine. And this one is really just a kick, like to kick it off, because I don't want to just ask people to bring brine all the time. It's not gonna be needed in the future. So yeah, we'll just pause it after. But yeah, it goes here. You can see it's coming there, it's coming here, and done. So now we're creating water. Forgotten to build this. So the water was not flowing. Now it is flowing. Perfect. It's flowing there, going into this. Perfect. So we're gonna start filling out those reserves even you know, without having water here. So that is great. That is great. We are good here. Yeah. So now this should start decreasing. It is. You can see it's decreasing slowly but surely. So we can unpause these two now. We should have started to make, yeah, these two. Perfect. The uranium. We're gonna build this and that. So yeah, the depleted uranium is going there, and the enriched one is going to go into this, and then into those two. Actually, I don't really need two right now, one, right? Because we're doing only half. So one of these is gonna take the enriched uranium at 4%, plus one steel. So we're bringing the steel from here. One steel is gonna make those uranium rods. Then we're gonna store those uranium rods over here, right? Ensure this is all built properly. Hard to see. No, I think it is. Yeah, it is. We're starting to make some uranium rods. Perfect. And then the uranium rods are gonna go into, you know, these, right? So actually, let's build this, that, and that. So what is it? There is one input. These are the rods. We're gonna want to input the rods. And there's one output, which is the spent fuel. So this one will go at level 1, and then we'll go down into those radioactive waste storage. This is where we're gonna keep basically our, you know, our spent fuel, which in the future we'll be able to do stuff with, but right now it needs to be stored because you don't, like, this is radioactive stuff, right? Shouldn't be in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so this is good. We're starting to make some rods and etc. I'm going to just double check that this is all looking good. This is going down. Yes, love it. This is going up. We are sending some brine and some water. To be honest, at this point, we can probably stop it. I'm just gonna wait until they make that full. Now, we are going to create, you know, water, and we're also going to obviously create over here steam, and we're gonna need water. So this is why water is so important, because that's gonna be one input over here, and we're going to create steam, and then we're gonna send this steam basically into high pressure turbines. Now, to be precise, each level of a nuclear reactor is creating 96, and you have 3 levels. So this is, you know, each line here is 1 level, and each line is also using 0.5 rods. And if you paid attention, you know that right now we're creating 2 rods, and in the future we can create 4 rods in total, which is why we have 8 lines here. So which means we can have, you know, this one working at full speed, like at level 3, this one working at full speed, level 3, and this one we will never get to level 3, just to level 2. Alright, so that's how we get to 8. And each of those lines, as we said, is 96 of steam high. So this is why we have 2 high pressure turbine, then 2 low pressure turbine, and then 2 power generator large. So each line, or if you wish, each level of a nuclear reactor is going to create 30 megawatts of electricity. It is also going to create something. What is it going to create? It's going to create some steam depleted, which, by the way, I just realized I haven't connected yet. So let's make sure we do that. So we need to connect all of these here. Up, up, and then here, this is gonna be a pipe level 5, because we're talking about a huge amount. We're talking about more than 700 at the end of the day, if the whole thing is built. So yeah, you go there. Okay, and then these ones, they don't need to be so big though. Okay, done, done. So we're bringing all of this steam, right? A lot of steam depleted because it comes out of those low pressure turbine. In the future, in the past, what we've done is just put that in cooling towers, where with the small cooling tower, we were only getting back half. With the large cooling tower, we are getting 75%. So that was better, but we have way better. We have now the thermal desalinator with this really great recipe. This is some research we just did, right? This is this research over here, the vacuum desalination. because this is going to create more water than what you put in. If you look over here, right, we're basically going to put into my reactors 96 water to get 96 steam, right? So it's 1-to-1. But then if we look over here, the 24 steam is going to create 33 of water. And on top of this, it's also going to create some brine, which is how we're going to get brine into this here, right, without needing these ones in the future. And by the way, now that this is done, we can actually just pause that one, right? This brine can get full, but we have enough brine here. So yes, this is going to create more water than what you put in, and this is going to create brine on top of it. Which is why, you know, we need to potentially do things over here to use this brine, use this water, or we're gonna need to drop into the ocean, which is what you can see there. And the only thing it requires is this seawater, which is what's here, right? So that's gonna be really, really critical. And it is important also, by the way, that we make sure we do this first before we kick the whole thing, because again, otherwise this is going to explode. You don't want that to happen. You could have potentially also, you know, smoke pipes or things like those smoke stacks, right, as an emergency measure. But I was like, no, we're gonna go crazy. So let's get started. We're gonna go, as we said, with half right now, which already is gonna be tons of electricity. So this is quite a lot. This is 32 of these because they only take 24, right? And at the maximum we can create 700 and something. So yeah, we need quite a lot, but this is just the same thing repeated, right? Where we're gonna take again just seawater and the steam. The steam comes from over here. You can actually follow it, right? Let's build that while we're here. Oh, there is one more we forgot. Sorry, my bad. Actually, it doesn't need to be such a big pipe because it's just one belt or one pipe. But yeah, let's build the pipes because I feel like when I don't build them at the beginning, then I forget to build them later on. So I like to build all of the pipes, and we have a lot of reserves, so I'm not too worried there. Here, yeah. Okay, looking good. Yeah, we're gonna do the same. Up, up, up. So building all of these pipe. That's going to be all of my steam. Good, good. I'll show you the total cost of this madness at the end. You'll see, it is definitely big. Okay, so we are creating this steam. It goes into this belt here, which we can follow, right? It actually goes here and there. So this is really the belt that you can see in the middle, there, and here, right? So again, let's just build all of the belts, pipes, before we forget. Good. Okay, here, this we can build in the future, but that one at the bottom we should definitely build. Okay, so yes, we're sending all of this. We're gonna get some seawater, right? The seawater comes in, goes over here. Here I see I forgot some pipes now. Why is that? Oh no, it's just empty because there's nowhere to go into. And here, this is then going to create water and brine. The water is at level 0, the brine is level 1, and they are both going over here, right? So you can see the brine one actually goes there into this big one, which is the priority. And then we're going to say first go here. And if you're full, you're allowed to go here. But this is again kind of then dropping all of this into the ocean. We have 4 for the brine, we have 5 for water. We obviously don't need that many right now. And if we only, oh wait, why is the brine? Oh yeah, the brine is going. Yes, because I've already connected all of this. But it should go there first. Why is it not? It was probably just things that was inside the pipe here before we built something else. Anyway, that is totally fine. We have a lot of brine. We have no more toxic slurry. This is working fine. I'm just looking at it, right, to make sure we didn't create a problem. But no, this is full of seawater. And here we actually saw that the brine was working, and just water, we haven't seen it because we haven't already created new water. We have, I'm guessing, some reserves here on the belt. Yeah, it is. You can see there are reserves on this belt. And here we can see it too. So perfect. We should definitely have one of these built before we do anything. And there's no more water on my map. But the key thing anyway is that we're gonna pause that one. Now that we have so much water here, you know, we should be creating more water anyway. So we're building this, and now I just want to make sure we build so basically half of this already. Whew. This is creating definitely a lot more than what you need. But that way we're gonna be ready for a big expansion. And then if we said half, right, half would be half of these. So let's go for half too. Oh, I'm low on Unity, so maybe let's do only that one for now. You may have seen also now the water here. So the water is starting to come out. There's water that needs to go into each of these. So here this is the water, and here this is the steam. So we have the normal steam high, that is those two here, and then there is a third one which is also linked to the third water here, which is the emergency cooling. So it is important definitely to have this connected to water, and you have here some steam, which honestly I could have also kind of sent back here to create more water, but this is only an emergency. So I was like, okay, if it's only an emergency, let's just put this so I can also see there was an emergency. There's some fumes coming out here. But yeah, this is the water coming for each of these. Here, there, and there, and this is the steam that's coming out. This has been built, so let's connect the water to it. We have then the steam over here we should connect for sure. So this, you know, half of the steam is going to go into this pipe towards here, those three here, and then half can go into the other ones in the future. And yeah, I mean, last but not least, we need to actually build the nuclear reactor. With those tech, by the way, maintenance level 2 and 80 people. So it's not the cheapest, you know, way to make electricity for sure, but it is the cleanest. Okay, so yeah, I need to probably upgrade somebody else to level 4 here. Let's go. Get some more population in. We can also unpause the beacon. That way we're gonna get more people quickly. And I can also potentially pause some of these. Oh, they already paused these ones. Because this is also 30 people, it's quite a lot. Yeah, we're doing, as you can see, continue to do some terraforming over here. We have finished to, you know, this used to be an island. Now it's not an island anymore. And now I'm doing the same over here. This used to be water. This obviously used to be water too. And we're destroying this mountain here. The idea would be also potentially to give me access to this piece of land there very soon. But yeah, I just need a couple more people. So let me, you know, jump a bit into time when we have a bit more people, when all of these things are full, and then we can get started. Because yeah, we have some reserves. You can see we have 15 uranium rods there. We have the water, but I like to have, you know, everything full before we get started. A couple of years later, and we have now the reactor is on. I just turned it on. Actually, first to level 1, you know, give it a bit of time, then to level 2. And if we want, we can even move it to level 3 because I've built the third line over here. But yeah, we can see that again, you know, the steam is going there, right? Then in the middle we have the low steam, and then if we look over here, right, this is going to create the steam depleted. Steam depleted goes over here, goes into this one here, and then all the way over here into these guys there, creating some of the water and some of the brine. So that is really powerful. Now this is too much, right? This would be the equivalent for 4, but that's okay. You know, it's there, it's fine. We have enough people, I have enough maintenance, everything. And so yeah, what I've done is now we have paused all of these guys here. You can see they're not working anymore. This one is empty. This one still has a bit of power apparently inside. But at least they are not working. I'm not gonna delete them right away just in case we have a problem, but we see that now my power should only come from these ones. I don't think these really shouldn't be working anymore anytime soon, so that's great. I think just to keep it clean, we're gonna pause these guys. Okay, so that way we can see the exact production, right? We're talking about 30, like 15 and 15, so 30, so 60 for this. As long as we're below 60, that means the diesel generators will not start. But that's, you know, the mandatory, let's say, nuclear power plant. We are creating, of course, already some spent fuel, as you can see, right? And we are also creating some depleted uranium. What I'm doing right now is just dropping it here, making a mountain. Same thing we did in a couple of episodes ago, right? You create a mine control tower, you take everything that used to be here, and we've just added depleted uranium. So it's only going to be there. So in the future, it will be easy to take it and put it somewhere else. And then if you look over here, this is optional. This is optional for either water, you know, we can send more water this side and then it can be used for something else. Because remember, if the whole thing is working, we require something like 700 of water and we're producing like 1000 something. So there's definitely going to be positive water production. And then this is for the brine, because for the brine it's even more. You know, here we need what, 18. So when this is also built 36, and this is creating like almost 200 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we're gonna create a lot of brine, and this is why we have over here this, and alright, let's build the whole thing actually. So you can see it. Yes, it decreased my resource by a bit, but not too bad. Okay, so yeah, we're going to start, you know, making brine. First, as always, it goes here, but when, you know, there is a bit more brine, it will go into this balancer, and then this balancer says first go into those two, like there's this pipe going here and that pipe going there, and it's only if all of this is full that we're going to start sending brine into the sea. It doesn't even pollute, right? But it's to make sure we don't waste it. So the first one over here, you know, it's gonna be to create chlorine, a lot of chlorine to be precise, and this one is going to be creating salt. So for example here, you know, we were also creating, actually this one was creating brine, so it's even less important. You know, I could delete this small piece here for sure, but more importantly, I think it was over here. Yeah, over here we were creating some salt and some chlorine. We may not need to do that anymore. So in particular for the long term, this is gonna be great. So yeah, it is, ladies and gents, nuclear. With this, we have a lot more power if we start, you know, building the other ones. And this is going to, you know, getting into negative now that, you know, many of these have restarted, and that's fine. I can just, you know, start something here, or I can unpause for a while some of these. That's why it's good to keep them. Now we do have a bit of a problem that started while we were building this, is we increase our population, and now we can see that my fruits, we have low supply of fruits and of vegetables. We are not making enough of those two resources, so we're gonna need to soon increase, you know, the whole thing. And again, this is why I think having now a lot of electricity was important, because to create water, it's good to have electricity, or also to create potentially hydrogen, to create fertilizer. So that's one of the things we're gonna work on very soon. If you look over here also, we've made some good progress, right? We have cleaned a lot more of the map, and we've also started to clean a lot on this side, including now I am building a ramp to this place. We've never actually already been there, so that's gonna be interesting. But I think this will be in the next episode, ladies and gents. Smash like button, tell me if you have any comments, questions about these beautiful nuclear reactors over here. I hope to see you next time.